You are forgiven if your optimism about this recovery comes to a screeching halt every time you pull into the gas station to fill up your car. 7 out of 10 Americans say rising gas prices have caused an economic hardship for them. This is according to a new CNN ORC poll. And with the national average for a gallon of gas passing the $3.90 mark this week, the hardship is not letting up. Bob, can you have a strong recovery with gas prices at this level, or are we just all complaining?
Well, we are. I was just going to say we are all complaining, but it makes it much more difficult. The recovery is weak already, as we've been saying. So if you layer increasing gas prices on top of that, it makes it much tougher.
And everyone wants to blame something, Ron. And this is what is interesting: is it speculators? Is it oil? Is it the government for having a failed energy policy? Is it us? So let's talk about the playing the blame game here. A majority of Americans now say they blame the oil companies for high gas prices. By a wide margin, Americans are pointing the finger at big oil instead of either political party or even Iran. No surprise that when President Obama chose to tap into that anger, he tapped into that this week.
So American oil is booming. The oil industry is doing just fine. With record profits and rising production, I'm not worried about the big oil companies.
All right. So, President targeting oil subsidies, that's what he was talking about there. Is it the oil companies to blame? They're getting record profits, and we're hurting because of it.
No, it's neither President Obama nor the oil companies that are to blame. The U.S. oil companies have access to about 12% of the world's global reserves because the rest of them are in the hands of state-owned oil companies. It's often in unpleasant countries. Oil is set on the global market. You know, we have this idea that the president can somehow control gas prices. Gas is based on oil. Oil is based on rising demand in China, in India, in some cases speculative markets, and what's going on in Iran.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of times what people say privately about the conversation about gas and oil and subsidies and all that, they're like, exactly what your point, that there's only access to 12% of the world's oil. They say, look, it's a national security imperative that American energy companies are incentivized to get as much energy as they possibly can, and that kind of is a theme underlying all this, Stephen.
Look, one thing is when the president keeps talking about raising taxes on oil companies, I mean, Christina, answer me this question. How are you going to get more, how are you going to lower the price of gasoline if you're going to raise the tax on it? I mean, that just as an economic concept makes no sense. But I'm really actually extremely optimistic about the U.S. energy future. I just got back from North Dakota, and we don't have 12% of the world's reserves. We have about half of them. I mean, North Dakota, Colorado, Pennsylvania. I mean, the natural gas, we have 200 years of natural gas. I think you're going to see over the next 5 or 10 years, as long as we continue to develop our own resources, you're going to see America move to being an oil and natural gas exporter, not an importer. And how exciting is that?
You know, we can actually agree on one thing, which is that the energy security future is brighter. We're actually already exporting more oil than we have since 1949. Right. The horizons for the development of the kind of reserves you're talking about are longer, so I think we have to do them in tandem with other things, developing green technologies. I mean, these are the things that are ultimately going to take us.
We have this conversation, Bob, and people say, yeah, I just paid $85 to fill up. You know, they want an answer today, and they want to blame somebody, and they want somebody in Washington who can say they can fix it.
It can't be fixed, and what I think is going to happen going forward in the long term is that gasoline prices, as we've come to know it, are going to continually, gradually get higher. I do think that we need to look at some alternatives, including green energy, but most important, whatever one's views are, we need an energy policy in this country. We need a coherent energy policy, and we don't have that.
Why do you think they're going to go down? You just said they're going to go down. Gas prices are going to go down. Why?
Because we have an incredible abundance. I mean, it is unbelievable what's going on with the fracking process, with horizontal drilling. I mean, we have access to 10 times more oil than we did just 10 years ago because of these technological breakthroughs.
Isn't it so much more expensive to get the stuff we're going after?
Yeah, it is, but the price is going down so dramatically. It's I mean, they have so much natural gas in North Dakota, they burn it off at night because they can't get it to market.
But in North Dakota, if I'm not mistaken, they have natural gas crews in North Dakota who are switching to go work on oil rigs because you're getting more money.
Oh, definitely.
You're getting more money good looking for oil, not for
But you know what? I'm going to make a prediction to you. In the next 5, 10 years, we're going to start using natural gas to fuel our cars, because natural gas is so much cheaper.
And Fred Smith from FedEx, who we were talking about last block, he was saying, look, they're looking for their long-haul trucks to get LNG facilities along the interstate highway system, and they think that that's going to be something that's lucrative for them.
You can't even make the changeover efficiently without a coherent energy policy.
But you know what? We spend, for every dollar of subsidies we provide to oil and gas, we provide $50 to $100 of subsidies to wind and solar, which only provide 2% of our electricity.
I'm going to say something very unpopular. We should stop talking. I'm going to say we should stop talking about taxes into the companies. We should start talking, frankly, about a higher consumption tax on gasoline itself, because we've been paying below rates of countries like Europe for a long time. We have this idea gas should be cheap.
That's going to make gasoline even more expensive at the pump.
I think gasoline is going to
And the energy companies, they love to point
it,
out that you, out of your pocket, more is paid in federal taxes and state taxes than is actually paid in what their profit is at the end of the game. Guys, we got to leave it there. Thank you so much to Stephen Moore, editorial writer for the Wall Street Journal, Bob Herbert, senior fellow at Demos, and Rana Fruhar, assistant managing editor for Time. And Time's cover story this week, by the way, is the truth about oil. Up next, which U.S. industry is eyeing India as the next big thing? Ali is there with that answer. He's going to tell us why other businesses should be watching closely, too. You don't want to miss this.